All right, TV1, it's week 3. Hope you guys had a nice, relaxing 3-day weekend. 4-day weekend. Yeah, 4-day weekend. Days are starting to blend together. Uh, and I'm sure you feel the same way. It is Tuesday, if you're watching this on Tuesday. If not, then it is whatever day you're watching it on. Short week, so we're going to keep it short and sweet today. We are going to break, over the next 2 weeks, lighting up into 2 different categories. So today we're going to be talking about, and I'm going to be talking about, breaking down like the physical lighting, not patterns, but the actual lights themselves. So like if you've ever looked up in the grid at the studio at Creekside and you saw there's a bunch of different kind of lights. That's really what I'm going to be breaking down today. So if you want to go ahead and follow along with me, even though they'll be up on the screen on the DDA review, it starts at slide 123. I think we're only going to go through like 6 slides today, and there's just a little simple worksheet for you guys to complete because it is a short week, and I want to keep this as minimal as possible before we start to dive into the bigger lighting patterns next week. So let's go ahead and talk about our first kind of light, which is an ellipsoidal light. Ellipsoidal lights are spotlights, and they reflect on a surface in the shape of an ellipsoid. So they're really small, decent sized light. They're usually used as something that we like to call as a fill light. So it's a very, very small pattern, and that's really all an ellipsoidal light does. If you go to the next slide, you'll see that we have fluorescent lights. You will know that if you are in the studio, these are really what we use as backlight, which is what we'll really talk about next week. So they're very, very soft, broad lights. They're not as hot. They're good for really, really small spaces, which is what we have on set. So they're soft, broad lights. Sometimes you'll see them with those barn doors on them, which is what we'll get into next week with lighting accessories. But those are fluorescent lights. Scoop lights. Scoop lights look like an ice cream scoop, and they provide a soft light that boosts the overall light level. So this is another sort of fill light. The only thing is these ones cannot be focused. So they're just going to go in a very, very small area and fill in light, and it does not have a lens. So you'll notice like everyone before this has had a lens over the bulb itself, but this one does not. The bulb just shines through in a surface, and it radiates from that scoop itself. So that's why it's called a scoop light. So it provides that soft light that boosts the overall light levels, and it cannot be focused. Fresnels, these are the ones you've probably noticed the most. They have those barn doors on them. So these are known as key light. So Fresnel lights are really common in our studio, and they're used for key light, which is the most important light on a subject, which is what we'll get into next week. So it uses a larger lens to focus light, and it creates a really soft circular pattern of light. It is broader than an ellipsoidal, so it covers more area, but it is less focused as a scoop light. So a scoop light's really good for just one specific area. Fresnels are like your medium-sized light. So if you remember like the types of shots, so scoop light is really good for is like the equivalent of a close-up. Fresnels are the equivalent of a medium shot. So that's the Fresnel light. And if you've ever used any of the floor lights that either plug into the wall or use those batteries, those are LED lights. So you can actually physically control the temperature and the intensity of this light. So they operate at low temperatures, and they can be controlled to change colors. So we don't actually have LED lights up on the grid. However, it is good for matching indoor or outdoor lighting because you can change the actual temperature of the LED light. So that is a good proponent and a good use of LED lights. So just like in sound, how you have natural sound, what it is known as natural light that just happens to be in a shot is known as ambient light. So it could be ceiling lights, it could be the sun, you could be outdoors. Any light that's in an area that isn't coming from like a source or a grid, that's just known as ambient light. So lighting helps make a 2D image more like 3D. And then what you're going to notice is that all the lights are connected to this thing called a grid. So the grid is up on the ceiling, and that's how studios are set up. So very rarely they actually have the lights on the floor, only if it's the backlight. Any key or fill light is up on a grid, and the grid can be you can move around the lights on the grid, you can place them in different spots, and then in the studio control room you can actually program lights to be turned on and off at a specific time. But that's more for next week. So today we're really talking just about the basic types of lights that you would see in a studio. And now all you guys are going to do is just break down a little worksheet that is kind of similar to the ones that we've been doing. Not really scenario-based ones, kind of like what we've been doing in past weeks, but it's something that will get you through this short 4-day week, and I hope you guys are staying safe, healthy, and happy. Hope you and your family are doing all right. And as always, if you have any questions, my office hours are Tuesdays from 2 to 4, and I'll see you guys then. Please reach out if you have a question at all, and I'll see you guys next week.